Garrett Blevins here, and I want to ask for your help today. As you saw, there's something called Selma Strong, and it's a giving campaign that the place where I work, they're partnering with this high school in Selma, Alabama, and they're helping them rebuild their weight room. Pretty much they've had the same weight room since the 1960s, and it's pretty dilapidated at this point. It's just been used a lot, and a lot of things have broken down, but the school district doesn't have the funds to help them out. To give you an idea, they didn't even have like hot water for their showers and stuff like that. There's just a lot of repairs and things that need to be done, and they're asking for some help. So I'm reaching out to you all. We're a little bit short on the giving campaign, and I figured, hey, might as well put it out to this YouTube audience. If you've ever found any of my videos helpful or informative, I would just ask you to maybe give like $2 or $3. That's all I'm looking for. We're pretty close to the end. The goal was $10,000, and I think we're right around $7,000 or $7,500. But this is the last week, and giving seems to have slowed down a little bit. So if you can help out, I'd really appreciate it. I'll put the link in the description box below. Should just take you a few minutes to fill it out, and the money will go directly to it. Nobody's taking any cuts. There's no CEOs or anybody. All your money is going directly to helping this high school out. So I'd appreciate it if you could do that. We'll get on to the rest of the video now. I got some of my lifting from this week and a little bit from last week as well. So this was the end of the first week where I've started adding back in competition movements. Since I'm not 20 weeks out right now, I'm actually closer to 16. I wanted to start a progression where I'm using the competition movements. Part of that is going to mean for this week I'm doing sets of 6 with the competition movements just to get back into them and kind of reintroduce myself to them. Though I'm also doing an AMRAP on squats after my main work. So I did 2 sets of 6, not real taxing, probably RPE 6 or so, maybe RPE 7. And then an AMRAP after that up to about 8.5 or 9, just till the bar speed started to slow more substantially. Ended up getting 10 reps with 495, which was a lot more than I thought I was going to get. I think I had planned, to get maybe 455 or 465 for a set of 6. I thought it was going to be a lot tougher based on how my training had been the previous week. Just getting reintroduced to the volume was a big change for me. I took 2 weeks off, which is a lot of time for me, and it's after the last competition. The week I came back after that, I only did about 45,000 pounds of total volume, and even that pretty much kicked my butt. The next week, though, I moved all the way up to 90,000 pounds of work set volume. I should say my back off sets are included in the work sets as well. But this was a great set, and I was really happy with that set of 10 and recovered pretty well from it. I'm also doing as part of that Selma Strong giving campaign, I'm doing a bench press charity meet. It's just kind of something that we threw together alongside it. Like I had mentioned in the earlier in the video, not as many people were participating as we thought, so it didn't really work out the way I wanted, but I'm still prepping for that. I plan maybe to just hit 455 on bench like you saw there. My competition bench is really detrained right now, 1 because of the volume, but 2 because of the frequency. It's just been way low, so I'm going to be working on that moving forward and doing more of these reps. But you see here a set of 6 with 365 was pretty taxing, and honestly I should be hitting 385 or 405 for sets of 6 and not at RPE 10. So that's just the way it goes when you're in the off season. Numbers aren't going to be as good, which is why I'm fairly encouraged with the squats. That 495 set was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. This is the next week, my Monday workout. I'm doing some tempo squats. I call these high bar, but really it's a little bit more of a hybrid position, only because if I go really deep with high bar squats, they just feel a little funny coming out of the hole. My hips always seem to shoot back if it's a very high bar position, so if I bring the bar a little bit lower, it really saves my back, even though I have a little bit more forward lean. I just seem to do better with that form. 365 here was the most I had done on tempo squats. I believe the first week I might have only worked up to about 285 or maybe 315. The second week I worked up to 335, and this is the third week where I'm going the heaviest and worked up to 365. I'm changing up my protocol. Usually I work on 5-week blocks, but I'm giving 3-week blocks a try, only because it worked out better with the timing for the meet that I'm in.
But that set was pretty taxing. I came back and did another 2 sets after that, but on some of the reps, I went a little bit faster and didn't use quite as slow of a tempo. This set, I believe, took about 45 seconds, whereas the first set took about 55 seconds. And so I was definitely moving quite a bit faster on these. These are tough. It's a tough squatting movement. I think this is probably the hardest squatting movement I've done. I think it's even harder than pause above parallel squats, which were the hardest thing I had done in the last training cycle. Just trying to count and keep track of the reps and everything else is very difficult. And so I definitely think they're going to produce some good gains. I felt my abductors really firing well on these and keeping my knees out as I came out of the hole, and especially through the middle of the lift. They really were working well, and it kind of alleviated some of the hip pain I'd been feeling from last week, which I was happy about. That said, followed up with some close grip bench after that. Ended up going up to 315 for my initial set. Set of 8 at RPE, probably about 9, maybe 8.5. And then backed off to 285 and continued to do sets of 8 until it got to an RPE 9. And I think I did another 3 sets after that. Anyways, it was a pretty smooth workout. As far as this part, squatting was taxing, but it didn't beat me up too bad. Close grip benching felt pretty good as well. But when it came to conventional deadlift, I really started hurting. You'll see here it's only 365, but doing sets of 10 with 365 conventional deadlift is brutal. And I'm doing it here without a belt. A belt would definitely make it harder. I'm also using double overhand. This was my first set, so I'm trying to work on grip strength. I am making the change to hook grip, but I don't use hook grip for reps. It just tears up my thumbs too much. And I'm going to have to manage my calluses a little bit better with hook grip. The bar sits in a different place in my hands, and especially on my ring finger with my left hand, that callus is really kind of jacked up. So I believe this was also double overhand. Yeah, I think I did all my sets double overhand on this week, and things moved pretty well. I was pretty happy with it overall. 365 is not a lot of weight, but for reps and on conventional, that's pretty good for me. So I was happy with it. Now, moving on with our postmodern discussion, I want to start getting some language out there, and one of the words that I really am going to use frequently is other. Specifically, this comes, I think, strongest from Emmanuel Levinas, who speaks about the other, and specifically the face of the other. What he's talking about is when two people come into a conversation with each other, you can't, in that conversation, learn everything about that other person to the point where you understand them fully. You have comprehended their essence, you have assimilated it, and you've kind of packaged it away in your understanding so that you can pull that out and you know exactly who they are, and you can look at it, you can know them in their most intimate details, and when you are done investigating their humanity, you can put them back in your pocket because you own them. Rather, the other is infinitely more complex. You can never comprehend the other. And in fact, when you come before the face of the other demands everything from you. In the sense that you are called to love, and love is by nature something given through an action that is not to be repaid later on. Gracious love is a way of thinking about it. It's a free gift that you give. And whether that is the free gift of getting to know the other for no other reason than you love them, appreciate them, and want to understand who they are, that is what conversations and that is what our communication and our relationships are supposed to take on. So the other is supposed to be respected. The other is supposed to be affirmed. And the other never becomes me. And I never fully understand the other. This becomes very important because in modern philosophy, the whole pursuit is about gaining knowledge, getting down to the absolute truth of things, and then you can hold that position and build up a scheme or a system of knowledge from that. Postmodernism undercuts that idea really with a focus upon particularity and difference. And so part of the ethics of relationships on a postmodern view is going to take account of the fact that we can't fully understand the essence or nature of another person. We are always in the process of getting to know them, never in the process of knowing them. Therefore, we never become their master or their owner. Rather, we are other to them and they are other to us, and we can only exist in relationship to each other. And that there might be rules or at least principles to what that relationship ought to look like. And so that will be some of the content of future videos, specifically a Christian perspective on what that content of relationship might be. In any case, I appreciate you all who have watched through this video to this point, and I hope wherever you're at, you're doing well. Blessings.